Welcome back. For the first time in years, there will be no live Monday night jam session at Sarasota's 5 O'Clock Club. The legendary live music venue has been around since 1955. Its current owner, George Generoso, who you met in Kate's story, has owned the 5 O'Clock Club since 1996. In his 60s, Generoso says it's time for him to step back, but it is also true the appetite for places like the 5 O'Clock Club seem to be on the wane. Over the years, the likes of Dickie Betts from the Allman Brothers Band, Brian Johnson from AC/DC, and Andy Summers from the Police jammed over countless nights to the delight of music lovers. The future is now uncertain. Live music might continue under new ownership, but not as frequently. And joining us for more is the musician and the music director, instructor Al Fuller, who was a regular at the 5 O'Clock Club jams, and Kate O'Connell, who is a leading petition effort to keep the music going at the 5 O'Clock Club. Thank you both for joining us. And now you are the creator of the Monday Night Jam, correct? Right?
Well, there actually was a jam at the 5 O'Clock Club, started back in probably about 1985 with a group called the Memphis Flyers. And the bass player from that jam actually ended up playing with me when I first started running the jam at the 5 O'Clock Club.
But have you basically tried to organize this over the years?
I just took it over. It was going when I took it over. So.
For those who are watching this right now who may not be familiar with what the jam is all about, could you try to explain it?
Well, we have a core band that would it was just myself on guitar and a drummer. Rich McDonald was the drummer, and Bert Engelsman is my current bass player. And people would come and want to play with us, and we would either get them up to play with us, or if they were a drummer, then they would replace Rich on the drums, or if they were a bass player, they'd replace Bert on the bass. We had a keyboard set up, so we had keyboard players that come, and sax players and other singers. And
Does it seem weird not to be there tonight?
I'm here, so I'm not sure. Maybe it'll seem weird, but as the night goes on, I know that it doesn't feel like it's stopped yet for me. I'm not sure when it's going to hit me.
Okay, we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but obviously George in Kate's story indicated that the crowds have kind of been slimming down over the years. How long have you been going there, and what have you noticed in terms of that over the years?
It's hard for me to say they're slimming down because I just am so involved in the music. It is so amazing what happens in these jams. The magic that comes when the musicians are free to really express themselves. They aren't bound by, I'm hired to do this song as everyone's heard it. I must end it in 3 minutes. What he puts together, how he blends the people that show up and puts the best foot forward of everyone who's there to play. It's magic. It's just magic. So I don't really pay that much attention to the crowd. Now, I noticed that the crowd is getting older as I am getting older.
No.
But, and now I seem to be young in the crowd, but I'm not young. So, and I do feel that, I think the difference is because the crowd is an older crowd, we tend to go home sooner. Whereas a younger crowd will keep that going from 9 until 2 in the morning. An older crowd maybe starts peaking around 11.
Well,
so I think it's thinner. It doesn't last long enough for a business to make a venue of it.
I mean, has that changed over the years? But, years ago, I mean, were there more people there later into the night?
No, we used to start at 10 and go till 2, and at 2 o'clock the place would be jamming. Then little by little we went from 9 to 1. And the crowd would start thinning out at midnight, and then we moved it back from 8 to 12 finally, and the crowd would thin out around 11. But the crowd has gotten older. The people who like to come have gotten older, and not so many younger people.
Why do you think that is?
I guess that they're just not as interested in live music. I think they've gotten inundated with all the different media. And I don't think that when we were younger, it was the thing to do. That was the thing that was happening. Now,
even before we were of legal age to do so.
Right, right. But yeah, and nowadays there's so many different places to look for entertainment, whereas we had to go. if we wanted to see some live music, we had to go down to go to a concert or go to a club where it was happening.
Kate, we have less than a minute left, but were you there for the last jam?
I was there for the last jam.
Was it emotional?
Packed, and the stars that came out were amazing. The people that have been there for so long, as I was going around talking to people to get signatures, I said, you know, so if you've been coming for a while, put down the number. 30 years, 25 years. It was just astounding, the loyalty, the backing there is for the Blues Jam.
Obviously, we are only getting started, and we will pick up this discussion right after we check the weather. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing the sale of the 5 O'Clock Club and how it could impact the live music scene in Sarasota. Our guests tonight are musician and instructor Al Fuller and Kate O'Connell, who is leading a petition drive to preserve live music at the 5-0. Al, tell me a little bit about the history of the Monday Night Jam, how long you've been involved with it, and what it's been like.
Well, I was asked first to start doing the jam. There was a guy, we called him House Cat Hunsinger. His name was Dale Hunsinger. He owned the 5 O'Clock Club when I first moved to town, which was about '95. And I ran the jam there for a little while, and then a guy named Howlin' Bob Fieberts took it over. And George Generoso called me back with, I had a Gwen Folk, we call her Queenie, and she, with my band, we did it for a year. Then Howlin' Bob did it again, and then I did it for the last 18 years. But the jam really started back in 1985 with a band called the Memphis Flyers, and they did it for a long time until Howlin' Bob took it over. I think he said he did it for 15 years or something. He did it for a long time.
How difficult is it to keep this up week to week in terms of getting new blood in there and you know, the different parts that really kind of make it all up?
Well, you know, I'd show up there every Monday night and you never knew who was going to come, which was the interesting part of it. You know, and the advertising was out there that that there was a jam, and we had a lot of same people come all the time, and we have some very good musicians in Sarasota. So it was different than other jams that I've been to, in that I tried to keep the music, the quality of the music as high as possible. A lot of jams, they just take whoever's there and throw them on stage together and hope they can make music. I would always keep a strong bass player if I had a weak drummer, or like, you know, vice versa. And I would always try to keep some strong players on the stage so that the audience was getting a good show.
Have you been amazed over the years in terms of the famous performers that have come in to not only to watch, but also to jam themselves?
Yeah, I've had some great ones. There was Donald Duck Dunn from the Blues Brothers, and Brian Johnson from AC/DC got up and sang with us. And my favorite was Freddie Cole, and Nat King Cole's brother. Right. Came in and played keyboard with us and sang
You'd be
some
shocked or something, like all of a sudden you look up and you know, somebody that you recognize is right next to you?
Yeah, yeah, they'd come in and we'd ask them to come up and play with us. So
oh my gosh. Fun. Kate, tell us a little bit about your petition effort. When did it start, and what is the goal, and how is it coming along?
Well, it started just 2 Monday nights before the end, when I first found out what was happening. This is a magical thing, to allow the musicians to express themselves, the beauty that comes out of this, the talent that you get to see. It's just magical to see this happen. And I was hoping that the new owner was going to be heading in the same direction, and I wasn't sure about it, so I thought, you know, he ought to know what kind of backing this has. So really, the message of the petition is threefold. First and foremost is to let the new owner know just how much support there is for this blues jam and what kind of people it draws, and that it can bring in famous names for him, as well as the fact that it packs the house with people who love the music, who wouldn't have found him otherwise. But the other two supports are that, secondly, to make it a thank you to Al for 18 years of bringing something so wonderful to our community that we wouldn't have had otherwise.
How many people have signed so far?
And I'm not certain because I lost track of it on the last night. People were said, I'll tell you that. So the third point, and this is the most important thing, is to express to the community that may not have ever made it there the depth and the wealth of musical talent that we have here. What would happen on those Monday nights was pure magic. The singers, oh my gosh. We have people there that, they could be on any recording, but what you asked was, so that's the threefold purpose of it. And how many signatures? So it started out, this is kind of cute. So I thought this should happen, and I didn't have anything with me. So I went to the bartender, and all he could give me was a blank receipt. So I have a receipt that's about the size of my hand. And I started going, do you think the Blues should, and so it got 50 names on it, front, back, side, corners, and then somebody went out to their car and got me a pad, and we filled 5 sheets,
with the,
5 sheets
with
of
the
legal
legacy of the 5 o'clock club here, and the fact that we have a very culture rich area here, all forms, from the opera to ballet and so forth, and we have A+ schools with great music programs. Why do you think younger people are not coming in to check this out?
I have an opinion.
Go ahead.
So when I was young, my mother would take me any live music she could find me to get me into. So if I was too young to get in, she would go someplace where they were playing at dinner so that it was okay to bring your daughter to dinner. I heard beautiful musicians on Longboat at the piano bars. And then as I got older, she continued. She said, let's go to a concert. We went, I mean, my mom took me to a Nitty Gritty Dirt Band concert, which is where I met the man that Al Fuller plays with, who often is jamming in the band, who is a Grammy winner, I believe.
We have less than a minute left, but I also want to ask you the same question. Why is it, in your opinion, we have this jewel here that younger people have not come in the same way that your generation did?
They just, they don't seem to appreciate it. For some reason. I know when we were younger, that was the only thing you could do to get entertainment. You went to the outdoor movies, the drive-ins. You went, you could go, to a club and hear some music. Nowadays, you can turn on a TV and get anything you want. You can hold it in your hand. You don't have to go far to get entertained.
Right.
I think that's probably why.
All right. Let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have final thoughts from our guests, plus what some of our viewers are saying about Friday's topic, our analysis of the week in Washington. We have a big surprise, so stay with us. Welcome back. The 5 O'Clock Club has been a hub for Sarasota's live music scene. Now, with its switching owners, the future of what it will be is uncertain. Will this affect the ability of local musicians to play, and where would audiences go? Our guests join us right now for final thoughts. And the big announcement now is the jam will continue.
Yes.
Where?
At the Blue Rooster.
Tell me about it.
We're starting on the 2nd of August, and we're doing Wednesdays instead of Mondays, which is odd to me because Mondays have always been jam night for me, but that's what we're doing. So I'm expecting that to go really well. The owners of the Blue Rooster are excited to have us, and they'll promote it well. And
what's the difference in the kind of venue? Is there also any difference in terms of what you think you could produce there?
Well, one of the things at the 5 O'Clock Club, one of the things we had going there was it was a smaller venue. It was intimate, and when we started out the night, it would be a little concert. Everyone would sit and listen to the music, and they would clap for solos. It was very special. It was like being in a little jazz club. I'm not sure if I can create that at the Blue Rooster. It's bigger. We'll see. I'll try. But that's my only concern. I think it'll work at Blue Rooster fine.
Kate, are you just going to follow Al and the others over to the Blue Rooster, or are you still trying to preserve the 5 O'Clock Club and everything that it meant?
Well, I'm hoping that the petition will convince them that there is good support for a live jam. Maybe there isn't support for music every single night of the week, because that didn't seem to be working before, but that a live jam is well supported, because that's where the real talent of musician gets to come out. And then the other thing is, yes, I will be going to the other venue. To me, the difference in the two venues is the 5 o'clock club had a large dance floor. And the kind of music that you hear, people can actually dance to.
We're going to create a big dance floor.
Oh, good. All right, everybody hear that, because there's a
great
huge
professional
dance
dancer.
following
Yeah.
for his music. There's a huge dance following, so I'll make sure we'll all show up.
Thank you both for joining us. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers are saying about Friday's topic. The week in Washington, Republican lawmakers failed to vote on their plan to repeal and replace Obamacare before their recess. On top of that, President Trump appeared to flip on his campaign promise to repeal and replace at the same time, saying Obamacare should be immediately repealed and then replaced at a later date. He also drew just a little bit of attention and by starting a Twitter fight with the hosts of Morning Joe on MSNBC. Here's what some of you are saying. Mary Benak writes, I'm a mom with a military son and I'm on disability. I say you wanted the job, you got the job, now grow up and do the job. Forget about Twitter. Myrna Kamens writes, disgraceful, disgusting, undignified, juvenile, I could go on. And Heidi Oros writes, just repealed this horrific health care plan and the Twitter was hilarious. If you're a journalist and going to spend 6 months attacking him and Melania and his family, be prepared to get a little payback. Heidi, reporting and asking questions about what the president says, does, and tweets isn't attacking him, it's doing our job. What do you think about the sale of the 5 o'clock club and live music in Sarasota? Join the conversation by visiting our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. And FYI, you can watch past discussions. They're on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Thanks to both our guests for being here tonight. Al Fuller is a musician and a teacher who was a regular part of the 5 o'clock club jams. And Kate O'Connell started the petition drive to keep the live music nights going at the 5-0.